Hey everyone, today I want to take a look at the two dominant players in the soft drink market. If you haven't been able to guess who they are yet, it's Coca-Cola and Pepsi. But the overall soda market has been on a steady decline, and that trend seems likely to continue for the foreseeable future, as people are turning more in favor for healthier options. Coca-Cola and Pepsi hasn't been sitting idly as their sales decline. They have invested heavily into other drinks such as bottled water, teas, and juices. A key difference I see between Coca-Cola and Pepsi is that Pepsi took it a step further and have also invested heavily into the snack food business, and has many popular brands under their belt such as Doritos, Quaker Oats, and Lay's, just to name a few. First, as a disclaimer, I just want to say I'm not a financial advisor, so please do your own due diligence before investing. When you first take a look at the two companies, you'll notice that Coca-Cola is slightly larger, but they're not too far off from each other. Off the bat, you may notice that Coca-Cola seems much more expensive than Pepsi, as Coca-Cola's trailing PE ratio is double that of Pepsi. And even though their dividend yield is about the same, Coca-Cola's payout ratio is double that of Pepsi as well. Why is this? It is because Coca-Cola has been refranchising its bottling operations back to its local partners, and this is a very capital intensive and low margin business. This has negatively affected their revenue numbers and their EPS, as the costs related to refranchising its bottling operations were higher than expected. When we take a look at the revenue numbers, you'll notice that Pepsi's revenue numbers, in the red, has been pretty flat the last decade, but Coca-Cola has been on a decline since 2012, but much more in the recent 2 years as they have been refranchising their bottling operations. This trend shouldn't be a surprise to us as the soda market has been on a steady decline. But it looks like Pepsi has been able to hold out better as they have a more diverse source of revenue stream than Coca-Cola, as they have also invested into the snack food business. When we take a look at their yearly profits, we see a similar trend to their yearly revenue, which is expected. You may notice a big spike up in Pepsi's profits in 2018, which was mainly due to the tax benefits. And on the flip side, you may notice a big drop in profits in Coca-Cola during 2017, which was due to them refranchising out their bottling operations. When we take a look at Pepsi's profit margins, their profit margins has been pretty consistent over the past few decades. Coca-Cola, on the other hand, has been more volatile. But if we remove some of the outlier points, where there have been significant investments back into the company, it's fairly consistent. When you take a look at their earnings per share, Pepsi has held up pretty flat over the past decade, if you ignore the 2018 data point that is, which is expected as the revenue numbers hasn't really been going up. Coca-Cola, on the other hand, has been declining over the past decade. Overall, this picture doesn't look too good. Why? Because they haven't been able to really grow their EPS, and with no EPS growth, you are limiting your dividend growth. And on top of that, they have been buying back their shares over many decades. Initially, when the company was still growing, with their stock buyback, they have been able to really grow their EPS. But more recently, in the past decade, even with the stock buyback, Pepsi's EPS growth has been fairly flat, where Coca-Cola's has been negative. When you take a look at their yearly dividends, they have really been able to grow that a lot over the years, especially during the past several decades. They look really good now, but if they aren't able to grow their EPS in the future as they continue to grow their dividends, they are going to have to pay out a larger percentage of their profits out, which will eventually limit their dividend growth. We can see this more clearly when we take a look at the historical payout ratio. First, let's ignore the outlier points in Coca-Cola in 2017. In the past couple of decades, you can clearly see a trend upwards, which means they are paying out more of the profits back to the shareholders. And there is a ceiling to this, and as we approach it, we can expect the dividend growth to slow down or maybe even stop. We can already see this trend in Coca-Cola as their dividend growth has been on a decline over the past 3 decades, and I would expect this trend to continue unless they can reinvigorate their growth. Pepsi, on the other hand, has held up better, but we do notice it declining as well. When we take a look at their 20-year stock performance, by far Pepsi has outperformed Coca-Cola, and it shouldn't be a surprise to us as Pepsi has been performing better in the past 2 decades. When we take a look at a longer history and at their annualized return, we can also see that Pepsi has been on top, but they have been following each other's trend fairly closely. But overall, in my personal opinion, which one do I like? With the declining soda market, I personally prefer Pepsi more as they are more diversified, as they have also invested into the snack food business. We can see the declining soda market making a dent into Coca-Cola's business, and even though they have been buying back their shares, it hasn't been enough to offset the loss in EPS from the loss in sales. We can see a similar situation with Pepsi, but they've been able to hold out much better as their EPS has been fairly flat. But that could be because they are more diversified. but these are just my own personal opinions. I'm not a financial advisor, so please do your own due diligence before investing. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, please like and share the video. I really appreciate it because making these videos takes a lot of time to do the research on these companies, and it really helps with the channel. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure to smash the subscribe button, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.